But there's a narrative here about Trump specifically that I think is pretty hard to deny if you look at it in totality.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to jump in and comment, but I have a lot to get through because this is the murder board. I don't actually have the red strings, but just imagine, listeners, viewers, imagine red string connecting all of these pieces. Welcome to Seriously, the podcast that dives into the baffling.
We can't send them to a prison where there's animals, where there's livestock.
The ridiculous.
Like omelets better than sex.
And downright unbelievable political climate in red states like Louisiana.
So we can't go there. There's no vegan jail.
Seriously. Seriously.
Welcome to Seriously. We're your hosts. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ellie.
And today we are going to dig into the insane world of anti-abortion, quote, pro-life social media. But we have some stuff to talk about before we get into that.
Yes, but I guess just to be clear about this deep dive that you've been doing, which I haven't seen any of these videos yet, so I'm very excited. Then I think we're going to do it okay stop style.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay, good.
But yes, in terms of actual current developments, start there.
Okay. I will get us started. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. It's just so Louisiana and ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The former Louisiana House Speaker has been indicted.
Mm-hmm.
Clay Schexnayder, who was the Speaker of the House, he's a Republican.
Yep.
He was charged this week with felony theft and malfeasance in office by our friend, Attorney General Liz Murrill.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So what he's being accused of is stealing a 20-foot by 6-foot piece of cypress, a fucking hunk of wood.
Yep. But it's like real old wood.
Okay, all right. So yes, it was taken from a tree that they think is about 1,300 years old. That it was harvested in 1936 from Lake Maurepas. The board was gifted to the state by some family,
right?
And Speaker Schexnayder put it in his office at some point.
Oh, it wasn't in the speaker's office to begin with?
No, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he did really like it.
Yeah. Somebody was like, yeah, put it in your office. I guess because he represents that area.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
The Lake Maurepas area.
Well, this family's not a big fan of his, I guess. They're the ones that are like, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
Because it's some artifact.
An old ass piece of wood. And now we need to spend state resources to get it back.
Yeah. It's worth, I guess, 1,000. I mean, it's like they've charged him with it's like a felony grand theft or whatever. So it's worth, I don't know what, a lot of money. It's all super bizarre. I mean, Liz, her office itself is prosecuting him, I guess. And he says that he did not take it. He says that he doesn't have it. It was in his office when he left and now he's gone. I don't know how you either prove that case or really defend against it. It's totally, totally bizarre. Apparently the governor just said, just give it back. This is after the indictment, just tell him to give it back. He says he doesn't have it. What are you presenting to a jury? It was in your office.
There's a picture of you with a hunk of wood behind you.
And he's like, and I haven't been in that office for a year. I assume other people had access to this office. It wasn't under lock and key at all moments, particularly since he hasn't even been in the building for, more than a year.
Yeah. I like a good Republican on Republican.
It's true.
Little controversy.
And Clay Schexnayder, he wasn't the worst, but he wasn't the best. No. And things have definitely gone downhill for him. He ran for some shit Secretary of the State, maybe, and did horribly. And now I guess he's trying to just live out his life in quiet isolation with this very expensive piece of wood. And that's now being taken away from him as well.
Somebody should check the bathrooms at Mar-a-Lago.
That's right. That's right.
That's where stolen government property goes.
That people say they know nothing about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in a duck blind somewhere around Lake Maurepas.
I mean, I certainly don't think it's impossible that he took it either.
All right. What do you got?
Well, the shutdown,
Mhm.
government shutdown, and whether the Democrats were smart or not to cave. So
Whether 8 Democrats.
correct, yes. So I have not been like as apoplectic about this as like a lot of Democrats have been. I mean, people have been going nuts about how stupid it was and like progressives going nuts about it because I mean, they got nothing out of it. I mean, to be clear, the Democrats got absolutely nothing out of the deal to close the shutdown or to stop the shutdown other than things would go back to normal and there will be a vote in the Senate about whether to, put the subsidies back in so that people's Obamacare premiums aren't going like skyrocketing.
Right.
So that's nothing. Like that deal was in fact on the table from the beginning. So it's never like you never look super good when you go back to the other side months later and say, oh, yeah, remember that thing that you said that you would do right at the beginning that we said no to? We will take that deal. That said, then the reason I'm not apoplectic about it is that the shutdown did need to end, and there was never a good exit strategy here. Meaning that the Republicans were never going to actually agree to do what they should do and solve this problem for the American public and put back in the subsidies so people's premiums don't skyrocket. So at some point, Democrats were gonna have to cave.
Yeah.
Like, I think basically.
But they should have had a messaging
Yes.
strategy. They should have had some sort of plan for saying, you know what? We gave the Republicans plenty of opportunity to do the right thing here, and they just wouldn't. Like they just
100%.
absolutely wouldn't. And we care about people.
Right. We care about SNAP benefits. We care about, the FAA not being able to fly planes, all of that. So that is, which they didn't do that
They
at
didn't
all.
do that.
But beyond that, then, as a lawyer, when you're in like negotiations, and you always have to think about what your substantive strategy is, but also what your tactical strategy is. So the tactical strategy being, like, when do I say this and how do I say it? Not just what are we going to say, back and forth on offers and whatever. Like, this was such a stupid tactical strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Democrats had just won, like, overwhelmingly in the elections. Like, you have leverage then. Like, the Democrats had leverage, and instead of using that at all, they immediately caved. Like, in like 2 days. So at least wait long enough to see, number one, does it work? Does this pressure on the other side work at all? Or number two, even if it doesn't, which I mean, you have to let that settle in when something bad happens to the other side in negotiations, when they have a setback, you have to wait for it to set in to see if it's going to have any impact. Like, it doesn't happen immediately. And then
Also, just like let the news cycle
100%. Like, don't like
in the
immediate.
elections.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was unlikely and or didn't happen, that leverage was realized, then it just wait a week. Just wait a week so that it doesn't look like that you are just so scared that regardless of whether you have any pressure, any power, any leverage, or just give it back.
Yeah.
Hi, we have more power. Please let us give it back to you.
Yeah.
And like the amount of, this is like when you're negotiating with somebody that you're in an ongoing business relationship with, right? It's not somebody you're done with now. So who cares if they thought you were weak? Who cares? Like, whatever. Like, instead now what the Republicans know is that putting an insane amount of pressure on Democrats, taking the court orders saying that you have to pay SNAP benefits, appealing those, like worse than before, appealing SNAP benefit court orders, like canceling flights, all of the stuff that they were like, you know what, the Republicans knew that they could just like do just like a slash and burn campaign and that eventually that would work.
Yeah.
And we proved that was 100% correct. And even at a time when we had some countervailing, clear countervailing wins, that public opinion was not on the side of the Republicans. So it's kind of unbelievable. And then that they couldn't even wait to get their shit together long enough to caucus together to have like a cohesive message. Yeah. They caved, and then their message was, we caved.
Yeah.
We caved.
I mean, the
It's
Democrats
bizarre.
really know how to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory,
100%.
like over and over again.
Yes.
It's really
Yes.
ridiculous.
No, it's like when you have a friend who's in an abusive relationship, like they're so used to like the power dynamic is. I've seen this with so many people, and something will happen, and that will shift. So the abused person finally has some power and leverage, and then they immediately give it back. They immediately do. Like, what are you doing? Like, he was sorry. Like, he came to you. Now you're like, okay. I mean, that's what the Democrats are like. Don't really like having the power and leverage.
Well, it's ridiculous. And so then, luckily, though, that the House Democrats came to their rescue in terms of trying to get the media to focus on something
Yes.
other than
Yes,
this
this was
complete
very smart.
capitulation, which was the Epstein emails.
Which I guess they could have released these before. It's true. So,
well, the
so
House wasn't insane.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And now the discharge petition has been signed because
Right.
Mike Johnson did have to swear in the new Congresswoman from Arizona.
Right. So members of Congress released more Epstein emails this week. I was hesitating whether, because we have like a lot of other stuff to try to do in this episode. I was hesitating about whether to do this, but I just kept fuming about it and then stayed up until 2:00 in the morning, basically murder boarding this, because the way that this whole story has been unfolding, it's leaking like a syphilis infected penis. Like, it's just drip, drip, drip over years. This has been happening. But there's a narrative here about Trump specifically that I think is pretty hard to deny if you look at it in totality.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to jump in and comment, but I have a lot to get through because this is the murder board. I don't actually have the red strings, but just imagine, listeners, viewers, imagine red string connecting all of these pieces.
You need to send this to some sort of journalist.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a little red string social media thing. Okay. 1997, when Ivanka was 16, Trump reportedly asked the then Miss Universe, Brooke Antoinette Mahalani, why does she have so many names? Whatever, Brooke, don't you think my daughter's hot? She's hot, right? BuzzFeed reported that several teen beauty queens from the 97 Miss Teen USA said that Trump would enter communal dressing rooms
while they were half naked.
Naked.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
One girl was 15 years
Wow.
old. In 2005, he bragged to Howard Stern about being able to view beauty contestants naked. He says, I'll go backstage before a show and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. You know, they're standing there with no clothes and you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
He also said to Howard Stern something about how, he would sleep with his own daughter.
That's not exactly.
It's pretty close.
A Miss USA contestant told The Guardian that Trump deliberately walked in on two young Miss USA 2001 contestants while they were naked getting dressed for rehearsal. October 2006, in an interview with Howard Stern, he said Ivanka has always been very voluptuous. Stern called her a piece of ass, to which Trump responded, yeah.
Pause on that for 1 sec. I mean, I know that, what I said is not.
Most
it
others would
correct.
Someone in their big mouth.
Or would, like, for sure not ratify that statement. You know, would be like, okay, you know, I don't really want to talk about my daughter, you know,
being
like
a piece of ass.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
bizarre. It's more than disgusting. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, this is his oldest child who he's very close to, you know. Who apparently he sees both as his daughter and also as somebody who he might want to sleep with if it wasn't his daughter. That's bizarre.
It's fucking weird. All right. He was on The View in 2006 when Ivanka was 24, which, you know, not underage, but still pretty young.
And still his daughter.
And this is when he said, if my daughter Ivanka wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her.
See, that's, I mean, like, it's just
she's 24 at the time. I mean,
it doesn't matter. I mean, first of all, that's still pretty young. It's his daughter. What father would say that? It's totally bizarre.
All right. So then we get to the 2005 Access Hollywood tape. Okay. Trump on a hot mic bragging about groping and kissing women without their consent and said notably, you know, when you're a star, they let you do it.
You can grab them by
the
the pussy.
pussy.
Mhm.
16.
And that was all because they were waiting for someone to arrive, and he eats a breath mint and says, "I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I might just start kissing her." Like that's it was in real time.
Yes.
That like he was like, "I don't know. I can't really control myself. I might just start making out with this total stranger."
Yeah. Because, which is an admission of guilt.
Which she will let me do.
Yeah. Because he's a star.
Let me do is not the same as consent.
That's right.
Just to be clear.
That's right. So this is an admission of his guilt for what I'm now about to run through.
Yeah.
Which is the 16 women who have made allegations of inappropriate sexual conduct against Trump. And they range. So we're going to go through them because I'm serious. Like, murderboarding it out. Like, we need the whole fucking narrative. Okay. Kristen Anderson, in the early 90s, Trump reached up her skirt at a bar. E. Jean Carroll, in the mid-90s, Trump raped her in a dressing room, which I can say because a jury found him liable for rape and for defaming her. And
I think actually just for sexual assault, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, whatever. He's been ordered to pay her $88.3 million based on two separate jury indictments or jury verdicts. And they weren't criminal. This was civil. Okay. Rachel Crooks, 2005. Trump kissed her without consent. She was 22 years old and a receptionist. Jane Doe, in 1994, she claims she was repeatedly raped by Trump and Jeffrey Epstein at Epstein's New York City apartment in 94 when she was 13 years old.
Wow.
Jessica Drake, 2006, Trump grabbed, hugged, and kissed her and two other women in a Lake Tahoe cabin, whatever, that he was staying in. Jill Harth, 92, maybe 93, she sued Trump for sexual harassment and at one point attempted rape, although she later dropped those charges. He settled the lawsuit. Kathy Heller, 97, Trump grabbed her and tried to kiss her on the lips at a Mother's Day brunch for a Mar-a-Lago club members because when you're a star.
Yes. No, you can just do it.
Ninny Loxonen. Sorry, Ninny. She was a former Miss Finland. Trump squeezed her butt when she stood next to him for a publicity photo. Maybe she's lucky it wasn't her pussy. Yeah. Jessica Leeds, in the early 80s, Trump sat next to her in first class on an airplane. He kissed her, groped her chest, and reached up her skirt. She then had to ask the flight attendants to move her seat. Mindy McGillivray. In 2003, Trump nudged or grabbed her from behind while she was working as an assistant to photographers at Mar-a-Lago. Jennifer Murphy, 2004, Trump kissed her on the lips without consent. Cassandra Searles, 2013, Miss Washington, Trump grabbed her ass and invited her to his hotel room. Natasha Stoyanov, in 2005, Trump assaulted her while she was at Mar-a-Lago interviewing him and Melania Trump. I think it was like their 1-year anniversary.
Oh, nice.
So she alleged that Trump took her to a private room and pushed her against the wall and aggressively kissed her. Temple Taggart McDowell.
It's good to remember, actually, so that with the 2005 Access Hollywood tape, that he was newly married. I believe Melania had just had, but she just had a baby when he had sex with Stormy Daniels. Yeah. That's different.
I mean, you have to wonder.
I mean, if married or not married,
Yeah.
it's horrible and completely inappropriate, but he was also newly married.
Yeah. I mean, he was, 2003, 2004, 2005. Like, these are accounts of him just grabbing women and kissing them. And then he says that, and Access Hollywood.
Yes.
Temple Taggart McDowell, 97. She was Miss Utah, USA in 1997. Trump suddenly kissed her without her consent on two separate occasions. And then the last one that I have here that we know about is Summer Zervos, who was a former contestant on The Apprentice. Trump told her that he wanted to discuss job opportunities. So he Harvey Weinsteined her. He got her alone in a Beverly Hills hotel bungalow. And then he grabbed her breasts, kissed her, and tried to get her to go into the bedroom with him. She freaked out and ran out of the bungalow.
Which with Stormy Daniels, it's the same thing. She thought that she was meeting with him
For a
to
job.
talk about job stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a pattern
Yes.
of disgusting, abusive, criminal behavior with women, including very young women.
Yes.
And so people really need to keep that whole story in mind when you think about what these emails that were released say.
Right. Which, like, as we've talked about in the abstract with the Epstein stuff, then and the way that the Trump administration has handled it, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. With the self-inflicted wound, of course, of like saying how they were going to release everything and then actively fighting releasing anything that, like, there's an inference to be made, about that Trump having knowledge of what Epstein is doing, being complicit in it, and or something maybe worse with Trump and his own bad behavior. Like, that would probably be true with almost anybody who has just acted this weird with this situation. But if it were a totally different person, maybe the inference is a little bit different, right? If it were President Obama, who does not have a very well-developed public record of inappropriate, abusive, and illegal behavior with women, then maybe you think it's for some other political reason, covering it up for somebody else. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, given Trump's history, even before these emails were released, it was like, but I mean, this guy's the one who won't now release the records. And where it was known that he and Epstein were very, very good friends for more than a decade.
Yes, exactly. So the three emails that the Democrats released, and then the Republicans released tens of thousands of more emails, which also are not good for Trump. But I'm going to focus on these.
There's also, apparently, just as an aside, a lot of disgusting emails with other people.
Oh, yeah,
like
100%.
Trump is not the only person who
That
looks
is correct.
disgusting in this.
That is correct. But the murder board is about Trump.
Yeah.
Okay. In 2001, there was an email between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's pimp. And Epstein says, I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked as Trump, there's a victim's name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. And that he also says that Trump, quote, has never once been mentioned, including by police chief. And then Maxwell responds, I have been thinking about that. The victim is believed to be Virginia Giuffre.
It's been confirmed. Because as usual, when there's thousands of emails like this, then the redactions are imperfect. And so there's been a version that's been released that says her name. So it's Virginia Giuffre.
Okay.
Who's, like, just so people know, I'm sure most people know, but, like, is probably the best known, like, Epstein accuser. She went very public about it. She wrote a book, and she has since killed herself very tragically. And her siblings are really great. They're really fighting for the victims and for her, like, legacy. So it's a very sad story. She's, I mean, of everybody, she's the one that people know.
Yes. And although she never said that Trump did anything inappropriate,
because she also worked for him to begin with.
Right.
She's one of the ones who Epstein stole from.
Stolen.
Yeah.
But the emails between Epstein and Maxwell, like, there's no reason to believe that they're for show.
No, these are their private emails. Yes.
All right. So
it's like between a husband and wife, basically.
Yeah.
Who are also criminal co-conspirators in this case.
Husband and wife, child molester.
Yes.
So 2015, there's an email between Epstein and Michael Wolff, who's a journalist. I'm putting journalist in scare quotes. Trump is running for president at the time, and Wolff tells Epstein that Trump's going to get asked about their relationship after one of the Republican primary debates. Wolff writes to Epstein.
Right, because again, there were endless photos, pictures, videos of them together. This is a known fact that they were, even though Trump claims I think he has actually said in recent years that he barely knew the guy. like it's the same with all these, the accusations, some of which have been proven. Like, okay, you barely knew the guy. There's a million photos and videos of the two of you guys together.
And now your name's coming up in thousands of emails.
Yeah.
So Wolff writes to Epstein, says, he's going to get asked about this. Epstein's like, well, can we craft some sort of statement or something? And then Wolf says to Epstein, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates positive benefit for you.
Wow.
Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. So they're basically talking about how to blackmail him.
Well, and I mean, that has been the accusation and or inference with Epstein the whole time, not just with Trump, that he had dirt on people.
Yeah.
That was how he made his money and how he stayed out of jail.
Yeah.
That basically, lured people to his house, had got evidence of them doing bad things that they should never have done at his house or otherwise, and then extorted them. So there it is in writing. There it is.
Right. January.
Michael Wolff should get indicted.
Also, like, what kind of journalist
Bizarre.
is like
That's so bizarre.
emailing Epstein on like messaging strategy?
And also then that's the response is like, you should keep this as leverage.
yeah, you should blackmail him.
Yeah.
Okay. January 2019, Trump is president. He's now trying to distance himself
Right.
from Epstein. This is when I think right after Trump started saying, oh, I kicked him out of my
Yes,
club. I kicked
right.
him out of my club. So Epstein tells Wolf, Trump said he asked me to resign, apparently referring to this membership,
right.
at Mar-a-Lago, adding he was, quote, never a member ever. So Epstein said he was never a member ever. And then Epstein adds, quote, of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop recruiting them from Mar-a-Lago.
Uh-huh. Well, plus Trump has claimed that when he kicked Epstein out of the club, that it was because of this. It was because of stuff with the girls. I've heard other reporting that that's not even true. Like, assuming it happened, which I guess something like that happened, and it was because like paid money. Epstein owed him money. It was like just any other membership where you're like, you're not paying, you gotta leave. Like, it was not at all some sort of moral judgment on Trump's part. Going back to Virginia Giuffre for one sec too, then yes, this the White House press secretary in response to that said, and Virginia Giuffre, like that, young lady that accused her of Epstein, then she said publicly that Trump was a gentleman, that Trump was always a gentleman or something like that. Which I think it was Tim Miller, somebody was talking about it, that like, I mean, number one, she worked for him, so it's unclear what time frame it even was when asked her what she said about, or what she was referring to. But beyond that, she's a child victim of sexual abuse who was asked around the time that she was being sexually abused. So like, getting someone like that, or someone like that feeling like they have to say, no, this person was always a gentleman, is hardly like evidence of there's nothing to see here.
Right.
Like this is a person who is being, or shortly was ago, abused, who's a child.
Yes. And also,
and the press secretary saying, I mean, it's bizarre.
Well, and it's funny too, because I feel like some of the Republicans that have really appear to really be breaking with Trump on this, they understand this Trump power dynamic because he has been abusing it to keep them in line too. Like they understand how he operates.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay.
Also, just by the way, what Fox News, the White House press secretary, and all the various loyalists are saying about this, about all these emails, is that it's a, quote, manufactured hoax. Like,
really?
What's manufactured and what's a hoax? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, that's just their go-to, like, messages.
Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Like, that is not a hoax.
Saw, like, 15 years into the future and crafted emails that would be damning to Donald Trump.
And both of them having been convicted, Epstein on lesser charges. I mean, he was facing, enormous charges when he killed himself or was killed. Nobody really knows.
Well,
like it's not Trump has been calling the whole thing a hoax for a long time. It's not a hoax.
Yeah.
Like the worst use of the word hoax.
Knowing what we know about Trump and how he treats women and how he has treated women for decades, it is inconceivable to me that Trump and Epstein were as close as they were, besties, and that Trump didn't know that Epstein was abusing
minors,
girls,
children.
right?
Yeah.
Children, and it's starting to seem more and more likely
Yes.
that maybe he even participated.
Correct.
In it. So I think that the question of did he have Epstein killed or did he arrange it so that Epstein could kill himself,
Right.
is not an unreasonable question to ask at this point. And
Yeah.
and that's kind of that's
I mean,
that's the end of the murder board. That's like how I feel about this.
well, the only other thing I will add, which because this is going to be an ongoing thing, obviously, because it still is unclear whether the Justice Department is going to have to release all of the files. There's going to be a vote on it now in the House next week, now that the discharge petition has been signed. In the meantime, then Trump is like he had Lauren Boebert to the White House, putting like all kinds of pressure on her. He's like
Backfired.
going all in on putting pressure on them to not vote to release. So that's like fireworks to come, one way or the other, how that goes next week. And then I just heard like a couple hours ago that I don't know the details, but that Trump has announced today investigations of a bunch of other people who are in these emails, like his, like, I guess, Democrats, whatever, various people. So to try to like shift the narrative that there's other bad actors here or whatever, then that's what he's announced. So and also the last part being, I think, we'll see what Republicans, one weird thing about this has been, of course, that the reason it's so politically damning for Trump is because people on his side actually give a shit about this. It's not just Democrats that give a shit about it. So that's different. But like, what were these nutball Republicans going to do when they realized that, like, wait, actually, this is bad for Trump. Trump actually, it seems like, is complicit. Like, they should want all the Marjorie Taylor Greens and Lauren Boeberts of the world who are, on the side of the victims or whatever their fuck there is, why their logic here. They should want this to come out regardless. But the only reason they actually have ever wanted it to come out is because they thought that it would be bad for their political opponent.
Yeah.
Now that it's clear that, like, it's actually very bad for Donald Trump, how does that all shake out?
What doesn't make any sense is that, again, this is their opportunity to
Get
let
free.
him hang himself. Like, get free of him.
Plus, regardless, they're in a bind at this point. I mean, we'll see what happens. But, like, if they start backing off now, like, how do you justify that?
Yeah.
Like, is all of your base so in? Is everybody, all the Joe Rogans and all the nutballs, are they all so, red-pilled that if they find out that maybe Trump's going to get in trouble, then they also don't care about it? That seems unlikely.
They've been,
Yes, it seems unlikely.
For 10 years, they have been telling people that they need to be really freaked out about this cabal of powerful people sex trafficking and abusing children. And now we know who was doing that.
And
who's actually doing
there's
it.
apparently in these emails also like all kinds of, like, Epstein he really is in contact with the Russian government.
Yeah,
he really is in contact with the Israeli government. I mean, some of this sort of like more outlandish conspiracies, but that have started to seem more possible anyway recently, with just how much money this guy had and how he was clearly being able to get away with money laundering,
because he
had a bunch of dirt on a bunch of fucking people. Yeah,
that like foreign governments wanted, and they were willing to pay him for.
Yes, so some of the insane grand conspiracy theories on the right, there's some truth to it.
Yeah. Okay.
TBD.
Anyway,
I've never wanted this stuff to come out more. I mean, I've been on the side of it coming out and it being really weird how Trump was handling it the whole time. But like, particularly when getting into, like, we're talking about high level government, whatever sort of interference. I mean, there's way more here than just a sex trafficking ring.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right. Moving on to other people that have no integrity and lie all the time. Let's talk about the anti-social media. So I did a deep dive, which it's going to take me a long time to recover from, because it was a combination of just a lot of stupidity, really, really infuriating misinformation and lies, and then just sort of their like the way they go about this. But one of the things that I looked at that I thought was kind of interesting was I watched a bunch of videos from the pro-life summit. I'm putting pro-life in quotes. Every time you hear pro-life, it's in quotes. So there was this guy named Trent Horn. He is a Catholic, and he was there doing some messaging strategy stuff. And I kind of wanted to start with this because you will hear it in a lot of the other stuff as we dig through this. So let's start.
Right, because they're good with a coordinated messaging strategy as opposed to folks on our side.
That's correct. All right.
So when you're talking to people on this issue, an on-topic argument deals with the question, what are the unborn? You always want to be talking about what are the unborn. But most arguments in defense of legal abortion do not argue about what the unborn are. Most arguments in defense of legal abortion follow this framework. We need, well, here, you'll see. Abortion needs to be legal because fill in the blank. What do most people say? Go ahead. Abortion needs to be legal because rape and incest, bodily autonomy, being poor, overpopulation, choice. But notice that the first thing isn't abortion needs to be legal because a human fetus is not a person or is not a human being. That's usually not the first argument. Most of the time, the argument completely just leapfrogs over the question of what the unborn are. It just says, well, look, if you made abortion illegal, it would cause harm to born people. It would cause harm to women. You don't want to harm women, do you? Therefore, abortion ought to be legal. That's the argument. And if you just only go through that framework of saying whether it harms women or harms society, then you're not going to make a good case. Arguments that aren't very effective pro-life arguments. Like if somebody says, abortion's wrong because what if you abort the next Beethoven? Well, okay, the kid could be the next Beethoven. The kid might also be, the next Joseph Stalin, or the kid just might be the next Joe Q anybody. Or some people might say, well, abortion ought to be illegal because it harms women. And I think there's ample evidence that abortion physically and psychologically harms women. But that's not a direct argument for the wrongness of abortion. So if someone says we need abortion because it helps women, and we only say, no, abortion hurts women, we're avoiding the main issue, and we are going to lose. So we always want to stay focused just on what are the unborn. And we want to look for arguments, are they on topic or off topic? So all the ones that were given. It's a woman's choice. That's off topic. Rape and incest. That's still off topic. It doesn't answer the question, what are the unborn? Okay, what are the unborn? So our goal then in a conversation, if you ask someone, well, what do you think about abortion? They'll probably say, well, I'm pro-choice. Okay, well, why are you pro-choice about abortion? Well, I think abortion should be legal because, and they'll give these reasons. You always want to get to the question, what are the unborn? And the best way to do that is to use a tool that my friend and colleague Scott Klusendorf first developed. It's called Trot Out a Toddler. What about a woman who's really, really poor? She's got 2 kids already. What does she do? Well, what if she just killed her toddler instead? Well, you can't do that. Well, why not? Because that's killing a human being. Oh, so if the unborn are human beings, we shouldn't kill them either. I like the 10-second pro-life defense. It goes like this. If it's growing, isn't it alive? If it has human parents, isn't it human? And human beings like you and me are valuable, aren't we? So there's really 3 steps we're trying to prove with the science. You just have to show the unborn are alive, they're human, and they're whole organisms. How do you show the unborn are alive? Well, that's very easy. If you take in food and you grow by cellular reproduction, you're alive.
How much of that was familiar to you?
I'd never heard, it makes perfect sense to me, like that is
not the arguments,
frame.
but
correct. Yes. Because we see that all the time. That this is a baby, this is a baby, this is a baby is all they want to talk about. They do the abortion harms women thing a bunch, which I always think is extremely not compelling, which obviously this guy somewhat agrees with, or at least thinks that that's ground that they're going to lose on.
Yeah.
The this is a baby argument is always hard because that depends on how you see the unborn.
Yeah. This frame then comes up in a lot of subsequent things that we're going to listen to / watch.
Part of why this is smart from their perspective, and he's not talking about this here, but it lends itself to this, is that one of the things that's always frustrating to me, and I think is a good way for us to at times talk about it, is that like they use that this is a baby framework from conception, from minute one. This is a human being, this is a baby from minute one. And like that's a stretch for most people, you know, like, but if the definition is it's something that is growing, then obviously sure, that's from the moment of conception.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how they talk about it.
Yeah. We're going to start with Students for Life. So Students for Life is an organization that has campus student groups, and they basically go around to college campuses, embed these student organizations on the college campuses, and their primary goal is to get into fights with students on campus. Their tactics are very Charlie Kirk, you know?
Oh,
I mean,
I didn't know that.
it's very much let's set up a table outside of the student union on campus and get pro-choice people to argue with us. And then we film it and then we put it on social media.
So what I did know in general about them is that, and particularly from social media, is that like they're pretty radical, like in terms of like the pro-life movement. At first I was sort of surprised by years ago because like they're young people, so you're a little bit surprised. But like if you think about it, the flip side of it is that yeah, no, they're young people. Young people are always some of the most radical ones in whatever movement. Yeah. So they're the ones that are like, you know, anti-birth control or will at least say that stuff out loud. They may not be more they say more stuff out loud than the adults do.
So Kristen Hawkins, she's the president of Students for Life and Students for Life Action, which is their C4. So you could do more lobbying type stuff. I just want to note that she is paid $337,000+ a year.
Is that just from the PAC?
From both entities.
How old is she?
She is in her early 30s, but she's been doing this.
Nice gig if you can get it.
Yeah, I mean, so she started at age 15 volunteering at a crisis pregnancy center. We have said before that crisis pregnancy centers are a locus of radicalization for this movement. She is frequently like the target of protests when she goes to campuses to speak. She has been leading this group though since 2006. I mean, she's been there for a while. And so her shtick is going to college campuses and doing speaking engagements and arguing with people. And she's kind of ridiculous. So let's just watch a little bit of Kristen Hawkins.
Are you angry at Harriet Tubman?
No, why would I be?
Because Harriet Tubman was a conductor on the Underground Railroad, a spy for the Union Army, went into the Deep South, freed hundreds of enslaved people, but there's nothing on record about her helping those enslaved people get jobs after she freed them.
No, I'm angry at your hypocrisy.
But you're not angry at Harriet Tubman's hypocrisy?
I don't think she was a hypocrite. I think people who claim to be pro-life tend to not actually care about the health care of pregnant women and simply want to control them.
How many pregnancy centers do pro-lifers operate across the country?
Why would I care about that information?
Because it's free health care for pregnant
women. We operate about 3,000 pregnancy help centers and maternity homes across the country.
Pregnancy centers are not providing free health care.
Also, what is the fucking Harriet Tubman argument? One of my favorite things is when they compare slavery to the unborn. It's one of my favorites. So this has to be where this is going here, is that like Harriet Tubman was freeing people, but then didn't also help them get jobs and live their life. So the fact that they are freeing the unborn, why are they also then supposed to be helping them live their lives?
That's 100%.
That is insane on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
And just blatantly untrue about free healthcare. Blatantly untrue.
Yeah.
Well, healthcare.
We're gonna watch her. She's.
I thought that by the way, the response,
Why would I care about that?
The folks in response, I thought did a very good job.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna watch an example of someone who does not do a very good job arguing with Kristen and.
But I see what you mean too. That like they are trying to get in fights with folks.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, they're saying very provocative shit.
What makes you qualified to tell everyone here that abortion is so bad and it should be illegal when In reality, are you a scientist? Are you an OBGYN? Do you have any kind of degree that makes it so like we should be listening to you because you're so correct on all these issues? Like I want to hear what you have to say about like your background.
Abortion is a black and white issue. You don't have to be an OBGYN. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a scientist to read biology books and to Google when human life begins.
I noticed a lot of your sources you seem to Google, so that kind of goes into my topic of like what makes you qualified to talk about this if you Googled it.
I say
like,
everything
on the news is accurate,
all of my
I guess.
sources are Googleable because you don't trust what I have to say. Google who has better sex. Married people who are religious.
Okay, stop. All my sources are Googleable is like, I mean, that maybe I'll say that in court next time. I guess I'm not sure if I have authority for all my sources are Googleable, Judge. Everyone knows Google, the source of all true information. What? Yes. Nothing false is on the internet. And then what is this? Who has better sex? Married people? What? And that's on Google?
As if who's been married, I'm going to say that is false.
I agree with that. And also, what is she talking? What was the next part?
If you want to know what a fetus is, go to Google because dictionary.com pops right up and tells you a fetus is a human being and a member of our species.
Okay. Dictionary.com actually defines fetus as the young of an animal in the womb or egg, especially in the later stages of development when the body structures are in the recognizable form of its kind. In humans, this is after the end of the second month of gestation.
Okay.
So that is
blatantly untrue what she said.
Well, yeah, what she said is not. I don't know. Maybe she went to dictionary
yeah.
or something instead.
She went to pro-life dictionary.org. Yeah.
Okay.
What happens during an abortion?
A clump of cells is taken out of the woman's body.
Does a clump of cells have a beating heart?
Well, I'm not a scientist, so honestly, what I will say...
You can Google it! Ask any abortionist if the fetus they dismembered or they sucked out of existence or they induced a heart attack had a beating heart. They will tell you yes.
Okay, stop. I mean, like, that's just not even true.
It's not.
They ignore all gestational issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, it's an untrue statement, number one. Number two, then even when a fetus is developed enough that there's cardiac activity that can be detected, that they have determined, not doctors, that the pro-life folks are calling a heartbeat.
Right.
It doesn't qualify as a heartbeat under science. The fetus has to be much farther along that there's any signs that like there's been enough development for there to be a fetal heart.
That's correct.
Like this, yeah. So like again, this is just like the first part is factually inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
And then for months and months and months after that, it is scientifically untrue.
Yes.
But you can Google that. So
It's Googleable.
Google does have a lot of information. So you could find it somewhere maybe.
You're okay with abortion because of conscience. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm okay with abortion because women have the right to choose whether or not they want to have a baby.
But do you agree that abortion kills a human being?
I don't agree that there's any kind of murder in the
Does it end the life of a human being?
It ends the life of cells. It does not end the life of a Yeah, okay, so you're a clump of cells that has been developed over time, but once you leave the vagina, then you're a conscious human.
So if I'm pregnant, I'm 9 months pregnant, my husband leaves me, I lose my job, and I say, I can't have this baby right now. You're okay at 9 months before the baby leaves my vagina, the abortionist goes in, induces a heart attack, and kills that baby. You have seen nothing like that.
Personally, I cannot speak to every pro-choice person, but personally, 9 months is late enough.
Why is abortion to you wrong at 9 months? Why are you personally against abortion at 9 months?
The fetus is about to come out of the vagina, and it's going to become an actual human. It's like almost fully formed. Almost.
Okay, stop. This is so one of my least favorite, the most disingenuous is like when politicians or folks like this talk about the 9th month abortion. And quite frankly, it is incredibly frustrating to me. I mean, with Democrats these days, that they will not talk about this. Like they're so, again, with all the, well, what if we say this? What if we say that? Like they will, if it's like uses such a cudgel now on the right to pretend like that people are having abortions in the 9th month. This is not happening.
Yeah.
It has never been happening. It has never been legal. None of those things are legal. None of those things are things that doctors would do. Even in like the only state in the U.S., New Mexico, where there is no gestational age limit, doctors are not performing abortions in the 9th month.
No.
This is just, it is untrue. And it never has been. And I don't understand why we don't just say that like very clearly.
Yeah.
Democrats, I think that it's because, you not wanting to get into the gestational age stuff and not wanting to like,
say some abortions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Some abortions aren't okay.
That is stupid. Like we need to take that on.
Yeah.
The vast majority of abortions are in the first trimester, and the ones in the second trimester are because people have like major circumstances that are happening to them. But in no cases ever are abortions happening in the 9th month.
That is, yeah. It's just not happening.
No. And when we just won't talk about it, then people are like, I guess that is happening.
Yeah.
I guess that is.
Well, and then you've got Kristen Hawkins going to college campuses and saying that shit.
There's not a magical thing in the birth canal. You're like, oh, now as a human being. That's location. Your humanity can't depend on your location.
That's an interesting statement because actually a lot of women's humanity does depend on location.
That's true.
Now.
That's true.
Okay.
And again, what I was just saying is sort of saying the same thing at some point, right? Is that like, okay, as a society, we say rights attach regardless of location, quote unquote, meaning in the womb or not in the womb, when that separate thing could survive on its own.
Yes.
This again is why, like, the viability framework is what was legalized with Roe, and why that's something that people can understand, right? Is because at that point, what that means is at that point in a pregnancy, then a fetus could survive on its own.
Right.
Outside of your body, whether, you naturally went into, labor or whatever, at that point in time.
Yeah.
That's why that makes sense. That's why this girl, even though she doesn't know how to respond to it, that's why she's like, by the 9th month, then you could separate the fetus from the mom, and it would be a separate thing that could live on its own. So that's why it makes sense.
Yes, but
in terms of that some legal rights would attach. I mean, there's also, of course, good arguments that no legal rights should attach until after birth. But from like a philosophical and sort of like a just practical standpoint, saying, okay, rights will attach when whether this other thing has actually separated from your body yet or not. If it did, it could survive on its own.
Yeah.
It's a separate thing then.
The problem is the student who's arguing with her, there is not an organization going around the country doing this kind of messaging training with the people who want to argue with Kristen Hawkins.
Yes.
That is a big problem.
Yeah. Your point is well taken that, we're not equipping people to be able to, not even politicians. The fucking people who are supposed to be equipping politicians to talk about this are also doing a horrible job.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, don't talk about it.
I mean, it really is infuriating. I wanted us to just introduce this today, but we might actually need to do an episode of the quote unquote pro-choice side arguing with them and getting it horribly wrong. I think we should do that. That should be another episode. I didn't want to get into that, but there's a lot of examples of just like, oh my God, like just don't
stop saying that. Stop saying.
Okay. So Lydia Taylor Davis she's another Students for Life person. She does these college campus tours. She's younger.
I want this job. This is a great job. But not on their side.
They pay really well.
Yes.
So she shows up with a baby doll that's
of
baby.
Course.
And forceps, and then like screams at students about what the abortion procedure is.
In a second trimester abortions, babies are dismembered limb by limb. This should not be a right. Abortion is a right. Abortion is a right. Abortion is a right. It is not a right to end an innocent child's life. Preborn children deserve the right not to be dismembered in the womb. Preborn children deserve equal rights. Women's rights begin at conception.
Okay, stop. The preborn. I love it. That's like, you don't really hear folks in our legislature do that, but like this is something you'll see in briefs a lot, including this was in the Sofia Vergara case, which again, they were so preborn, they weren't even in a womb. So preborn. But yes, it's very smart and also just incredibly like hilarious and eye rolling.
Yeah.
Preborn human beings, preborn children, like
Yeah.
the preborn should have the same rights. Okay.
So I love that there's all these students that are like,
Yeah, she's getting yelled at a lot.
she's frustrated.
I think she kind of likes it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they put it on their social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wrap up of this is pretty good.
What? Sorry, we can't fucking hear you. We can't hear you.
She also has this amazing video about bodily autonomy. Let's watch that.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is your reminder that being pro-life is actually pro-bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy involves the ability to make decisions about one's own body without interference from other people. And pro-lifers do not care what women do with their bodies. They can shave their head bald, tattoo their forehead, pierce their belly button for all we care. I might not personally agree with those decisions, but that is their body, their choice. But a preborn baby has their own separate body, their own fingers, their own toes, their own heartbeat. They have their own body and therefore deserve their own bodily autonomy, which abortion directly violates by either poisoning, vacuuming, or dismembering their body. A woman's choices over her own body do not include the choice to harm her baby's body in an abortion. So if you want to be on the side that actually supports bodily autonomy, be pro-life.
Oh, such a good argument. Yeah. First of all, she's really pretty. That other Kristen girl is not. So that's always, it helps with, with your messaging.
In recent videos, I think Kristen may have gotten on the GLP-1. So she's
all right. Well, she'll be a more forceful messenger. Yeah, that was an interesting take. Take.
I mean, is she driving while making the video?
Yeah. She was either driving or her friend was.
Maybe she was in the back seat, but
why are you in a moving car while you're doing this? Yes. And she'd clearly gotten her hair looking fabulous in this car to do this. Like, you have to do it right now. Why?
Yeah, you couldn't wait.
It's so pressing. Yeah.
Just pull into the fucking
Or do you just
Walmart.
do them all driving around? Where are you on your way to?
I really don't. That's the thing I don't understand. This is not just these idiots in the quote pro-life movement. There's a lot of young people.
It's true.
Or just people making
cars. I don't know why. It's true. And a couple other things on that. Number one, these people, I mean, I don't know about people as young as her, but so much of the anti-abortion movement is a sex shaming movement.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not sure how strong their bodily autonomy argument is, in total in their movement for grown women either.
Yeah.
And then again, of course, the fingers, toes, heartbeat, blah, 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 not true.
Yeah.
Often not true.
Okay, we've got a couple more in the Students for Life thing. So Kristen Jurgen, she has 87,000 followers. I mean, these people have a lot of followers.
Oh, I bet.
She's a Students for Life contributor. She's kind of old. I don't, maybe she got involved when she was much younger. But anyway, she's a homeschool mom now.
Oh, good. That is good.
So this video is her freaking out about sex ed. It's really good. Because she's a homeschool.
Anyone who goes along with this, straight to jail. Straight to jail. Anyone who goes along with this should immediately be arrested, and you will not ever change my mind. Sex Ed Summer Camp at Boulder Valley Health Center, an abortion facility, by the way, for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They're going to be talking about sex, body, sexuality, sexy feelings, media. That's a stand-in for the word that rhymes with corn. Pleasure in all sorts of ways. 5th graders are as young as 10 years old, you guys. I have been telling you for years that the abortion industry has an agenda to sexualize your children, but also to become the sexpert in your child's life. And that's exactly what this is.
So, first of all, she thinks people should go to jail for sex education.
Yeah.
Because I guess one of the whole conspiracy theories, of course, is that it's really grooming. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. What's jailable conduct?
She thinks teaching young people how to deal with sexual content in the media is
porn.
that they're going to show them porn.
Correct. Yeah, she said that outright. Also,
well, she didn't say it outright because
that's
it rhymes
right.
with corn.
That's true.
Because she's a Christian.
Right, because she's a loser. Yeah. You can't even say the word porn. Yeah. A ton of what they say is just like, they're saying so much stuff that like people aren't really going to unpack all of it, right? So like some of it is probably just factually inaccurate. And she certainly already had my attention that I wasn't paying attention to details with this. And when you does this, she goes straight to jail part when you'd already, tipped me off that this is about sex education.
Let's just finish up the Students for Life. Riley Gaines.
Yeah.
Listeners may remember us talking to Monica. This is the 5th place loser that ignited the fury against trans athletes across.
She's also like a pro-life messenger.
She's completely unsurprisingly and joined forces with Students for Life, and she was at the pro-life summit. I didn't realize we were going to have a through line from that episode to this one.
No group of people, no population more vulnerable than the preborn. And now, this issue, it is personal for me. It's no longer an issue of policy or politics. It never was. But now it's deeply personal. I feel this little baby. I feel her moving around at night when I'm laying down trying to go to sleep, which is... No one told me that's how it goes.
No one told me because you're not getting fucking sex ed.
Yes, I'm assuming she's pregnant.
She is pregnant.
Okay, all right. Because I don't know. She seems a little nuts so far. So
she's pregnant. It really doesn't matter. The thing is like Riley Gaines was not just a 5th place loser who got upset about being beaten-ish by a trans athlete.
Yes.
And not upset about being beaten by 4 cisgender athletes. She's a strategy. Well, she was in this whole mix.
This, to me, it seems like it's someone who loves attention, and she's found some groups who will platform her.
Yeah, but I think
100%.
It seems like
she was already in this mix. I don't know. She sounds like she didn't give a shit about this until she got pregnant.
I don't know. Well, or... Maybe she didn't give a shit about it until she got famous and
platformed and got a lot of attention for being like the face of the anti-trans movement.
Yeah, and then
and they were like, "You're kind of cute too.
Yeah.
Come talk
this movement.
We'll put you on stage too."
Mm-hmm. And also we're using the exact same strategy that
if I want to see the rest of where's this going.
I saw her little hands on the anatomy scan, her little bitty feet. The heartbeats, I listened to them at the 8-week appointment. They're just like yours, and they're just like mine. And that reality, that undeniable humanity that is now growing inside of me, it has taken my beliefs that I've always had from a sense of intellectual and moral beliefs to now an immovable obligation to defend the right to life.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm calling bullshit on that.
Yeah.
She didn't give 2 shits about this issue before. I mean, maybe she was pro-life, maybe she just didn't give 2 shits. But like, clearly you can tell from what she's saying that they found her. She likes being famous. She likes doing stuff on the conservative side. And they're like, and you know what? You're pregnant. You're pregnant now. Come talk on stage.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Which I think is what Monica called her. Maybe she said trash. I think she was like the piece of trash that is Riley.
Yeah.
So I didn't know her name.
I need to tell you this one last thing. The Students for Life made these AI protester action figures. So let me just explain this for people who might be listening. So there's Kristen Hawkins, and so
she's still fat in that one.
She's got. Kristen Hawkins has her dog. She's got
these are like Barbie doll. I mean, they're not like Barbies, but they're similar. They're dolls.
They're dolls.
Yeah, action figure. I guess you say.
You can actually. I don't think you can actually buy them.
I want to buy one.
I know. I do too.
So what is the Antifa protester? What's the quote pro-abortion?
She just looks like an angry
with green
lesbian or
hair.
something.
The pro-life student looked like a lame ass.
Yeah. So, but
Some of these are pretty accurate.
what's really funny is their accessories. So Kristen Hawkins has a Starbucks cup, and she has one of these weird baby dolls that they take. Apparently, she has a dog.
What is the pro-abortion person have? I think that I want one of them to have a bomb for the pro-life.
They have a pro-abortion dude who apparently has.
He's just a regular dude.
He's just got a sign. I don't know. Maybe a pair of underwear, Speedo. I have no idea. The pro-abortion protester has condoms. She's got a pink hat.
A pink pussy hat.
Yeah. I can't see all of her accessories, but yeah, she just looks like an angry, green-haired.
A liberal. Some sort of bizarre liberal.
Some sort of liberal.
I like that they made the dude just a regular dude. It's pretty funny. I want us to make these, and ours, and the accessory for the pro-life protester is going to be a bomb.
100%. But the one that really got me was the Antifa one, because basically looks like an ICE agent. It's like a masked person, all in black, like no visible emblems or insignia. So yeah.
Are these for sale? You don't think?
I don't think so. I wish they were. Well, not really. I wish they were for steal. And wouldn't it be hilarious if you got a call because I got thrown in jail because I stole the whole batch of Kristen Hawkins dolls off the shelf of Target?
Yeah, that's like a kid, and there's mom all right, I'll be right there to pick her up. What the fuck?
What are the people supposed to do, Ellie?
Rate, review, and subscribe.
That is right.
They better do it.
Yeah. We also, we're going to do a little contest. If you if you post a comment on whatever Spotify, or if you do a review on Apple Podcasts, you will be entered for a chance to win some cool Lift Louisiana swag. I was supposed to wear the t-shirt that you could get, and I fucking forgot. But we will post it on social media.
You also might be eligible to get one of the action figures produced by the pro-life movement that Michelle is going to steal.
Ellie's getting ahead of herself. Leave us a comment, review us on Apple Podcast, comment on YouTube, and maybe you will get some cool Lift Louisiana swag. And we will talk to y'all next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Seriously is presented by Lift Louisiana, a nonprofit organization advocating for reproductive health rights and justice.